Hello and welcome to At the Redline podcast. My name is Alec Gonzales with Coaching the Redline. This is Jeryl Reinbolt.
Yes.
She works with an organization that focuses on the right to life in the state of Washington, and she's here to talk to me. I'm glad you came.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Glad to be here.
Thanks for coming.
Mm-hmm.
I always like to start off with childhood, family of origin, where you grew up, what was your family like? You said earlier you're an only child.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What was it like for you being a kid?
Wonderful. I had a wonderful upbringing. My parents were incredible. They were both extremely educated. They were both teachers, and they both loved me very much. And I knew that if I went to the store with them and I said, "Oh, I would really like to have that," that at some point I'd probably get it. Spoiled, nice. Yeah, but I loved it.
Oh,
it was
good.
Great. Yeah,
good.
Yeah.
You told me earlier, kind of a country girl out in the woods. Did you have a horse? And
I did. I did. By the time when on my I live in a house that was built in 1954. And 1955 is when, or 56 actually, just before I turned 6, is when we moved out there. And by the time I was 10 years old, I had a horse.
Nice.
I absolutely loved it. I don't know where the desire to have a horse came from. I always had that desire.
Oh, fun.
And to this day, I wish I still had my horses.
Really? What did the horse do for you? What was it teach you? Was there a life lesson? How did it connect you with God? I don't know.
That's really a good question. I'm not sure how it connected me with God, except that it wasn't too long after I got my first horse that I did want God in my life.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, that leads me right into my second question. How did you find a relationship with God? Did it come at one time in your life, or was it an arc or an experience? How would you tell the story?
Well, I know that every time that my parents would turn on a program that had Billy Graham on it, or had a Oral Roberts, I remember that teaching, and anything, I would want to sit and really listen to it. My parents didn't. They went off into the other room. They were really good people. But at that point, they were involved in something else, and it wasn't overtly evil, but it was not a Christian organization. And I was
well, now you got me really curious. What was the organization?
You want me to actually name the church?
Yes.
Okay, it was Unity Church of Truth.
Oh, interesting.
And they kind of believe that you're okay, I'm okay, everybody's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry. I hope you're fine with telling me.
No, it's fine.
I can delete it from
it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. But anyway, I was never really very comfortable there. It always seemed so dry and lifeless. And I remember the singing at the end, and that little song is great that they sang, the sparrow that watches over you. I don't remember the name of the song, but that was one of the verses. And I know that church absolutely let me down when in one of my darkest hours. I went for help to the leadership, and they gave me nothing and dismissed me. So my growing up was, we only went to church on Easter and on Christmas. My mother was raised in the Episcopal Church. In fact, some of my relatives helped build a big cathedral on the hill.
Yeah.
And
good friend of mine used to work in that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He was the second. I can't say the name because it sounds weird, but he worked in the cathedral for a season. Paul Evans, England. Yeah. Great guy.
Yeah. Well, I remember every time that I was babysat, and that was a lot because being an only child and both my parents were professionals, they would leave me with my grandparents a lot. And so, especially in the summer, I would be left with my grandparents on my mom's side. And she lived on 16th, and it was very close
Yeah.
to the cathedral.
Yeah.
And close to Manitou Gardens too,
Nice.
which is really awesome.
Yeah, it is.
But she would take me to church, and oftentimes we'd walk. And I remember that beautiful organ, loving the music, absolutely loving that, not understanding anything pretty much of what the leadership was preaching. But I was learning to read at that point. And so I was very interested in reading the responses, with my grandmother. But then I went to the Sunday school. And the only thing I really remember from that is during one Christmas, creating a little nativity scene from a shoebox. And I remember gluing the wool, the cotton, onto the little sheep and fixing it all up and stuff and forming that little nativity scene. That really is about the only thing I remember. And then being there with my grandmother, which I highly valued. And it wasn't until later, much later, that I ever really heard a salvation message that it really registered with me. So,
okay. Was there a time when you said a prayer and, committed your life to God? And
yeah, there really was. When I was growing up, I had a horse, and my first horse I got when I was 10. And I would ride over to my girlfriend's house, and she had the same urging to go to church as I did. And so my mother was a teacher with Rebecca's mother. And we pleaded with them, would you take us to church? And so one family would, one weekend, my mom would take us and leave us at one of the churches and see, how do you like that one?
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And then the next weekend we might go to a different church.
So you just had the spontaneous desire to go to church.
I did. And so somebody was praying for me, and I don't know who, and I'll find out one day. But probably my grandmother. But
my theology says God, but you can believe it was a person. I think that God is drawing you by his spirit to himself. That's how my theology works. Whether there's someone actually being used to pray is a cute story, but I don't think it's actually necessary. And it could have been, 4 generations ago, the Episcopalian grandmother's grandmother who said, Lord, all the people in my,
Absolutely.
But that's so cool that you just felt this desire. I haven't heard that.
Connections with the Church of England go back many generations on my grandmother's side. And one of my relatives was a missionary in India in the 1800s during some of that terrific uprising.
Anyway, you were telling a cute story and I interrupted you. Yeah. What was there a moment where you really realized that, the gospel was in need?
There was. I mean, it wasn't until later, but to continue with my story, one of the last place that they left us was Whitworth Presbyterian Church.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
And the Sunday school that we went to said that if you could memorize all the books of the Bible in order, that will give you a Bible. I wanted that Bible, and so did Rebecca. And so I remember myself staying in from recess. Even my teacher would let me do this, and I wrote the names of the Bible on the chalkboard. But I'm very visual learner, so I hear it, and then if I read it or write it or something, then I'm more apt to get it.
Okay.
And so I did that, and I got my Bible. And where do you start? Well, you start a book at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
So I started in Genesis, page 1, and I read partway through partway through Genesis, and I thought, Lord, I can't be that good. I don't know how to receive you. I remember riding my horse out it was a beautiful sunset night, rode my horse across the river, and the horse was happily munching on apples, from wild apple orchard. And I was sitting there literally crying my eyes out and saying, Lord, I want you, but I don't know how to receive you. I mean, I'm not good enough. I know I want you in my life. And I know he had his hand on me, probably from before then. But it wasn't until a few years later that I actually received him as Lord and Savior.
I would not be surprised if in the kingdom you received him then.
I might have.
Yeah, because when you're crying out,
yep,
that's an open, contrite heart.
It was.
That, to me, that God answers that prayer, bammo. You just didn't have the formula, like we white people like to. I shouldn't say it like that, but we're very highly educated. There's got to be a certain,
I know, I get it.
That's awesome. Yeah. What a cool story.
But and it was in college that I met a person actually that came to the campus, and it was on the campus grounds. We were outside and invited the whole group of us that were sitting around on the grass talking to a Jesus coffee house downtown. Well, I loved coffee. And okay, I'll go. Didn't I have any idea what was going to go on? And I listened to a fire and brimstone preacher, talking, nice. About heaven and hell. And I gave my heart to the Lord then. And I received a little tract of Gospel of John, and I read that from cover to cover and a few times. But I didn't really have anybody to lead me and say, okay, now here's the next step.
Yeah.
And so that kind of went by the wayside, and I ended up falling back over into Unity, went to the youth group there, and met a guy that wooed me, and it ended up being ADHD, but we got married. And I remember thinking on the day that I got married that, if it doesn't work out, I can always get out of this. I mean, what a foundation for a future, right? And but yet I didn't believe in divorce, really, not in my heart of hearts. And so anyway, had my 3 children, and he was very abusive, both verbally and physically. And it was a dark, dark time. And he was taking me over to the Unity Church. And so I reached out to the leadership, and I tried to tell them what was going on. But they were very dismissive at that time. It was like, well, you must be doing something to cause this. And I would try to tell them, well, I don't know what. I mean, I'm just being me. I'm trying to do what my husband wants me to do. And no matter what I do, it's not good enough. And I'm getting literally, punched. And I'm being told that I'm not going to live very long. And it was very, very dark. And, we'll try to see if we can talk to him and try to tell him not to do that. It was about the best I got. And I thought, that's nothing. And I really felt I couldn't go to my parents because they were so highly educated, and I've heard them say more than once, well, you make your bed and you lay in it or lie in it. Okay. And so I didn't want to disappoint them. And so I toughed it out for about 6.5 years, and then became very good friends with my neighbor, a lady of color. I love her still. I don't know where she is. Maxine, if you ever hear this, I love you. I hope you are still here and we can get together again. But she was having problems in her marriage as well, but had 2 little children that came to play with my kids. And I remember little Ernie, I had him over for lunch, and he went into the bathroom to wash his hands. And my son, Brian, looked at him and said, that dirt's not coming off. And Ernie said, it's not dirt. It's just the innocence of children. It was just awesome. I really remember that. But they were the best of friends.
Oh, good.
And she's the one who arranged for the blind date. She did it without even talking to me. And she, one day, she just came over and said, you got a date tonight. You better get ready. This was after Greg had told me that he was going to divorce me. He said, I better divorce you before I kill you. And I thought, well, that's nice of you. And so he initiated that. And about a year later, he had moved out. About a year later, it's when Maxine came over and said, "You have a date tonight. And what's more, you're driving and we're going to Denny's." I said, "Okay, Denny's. It's a place where I could leave if I want to. I'm driving. I'm in total control." And so, but the last thing I wanted was looking for a man. I had no intention of looking for another man. And she said, "Turn here." And I thought, "This isn't Denny's." And she said, "Yeah, it is. It's my friend Denny's house." I thought, "Oh my gosh." Anyway, she convinced me to go in, and there was Tim, my current husband. And he had 2 children, he told me. And I told him that I had 3 children. And I figured, well, that's going to be the end of that. And I stood up, and he's a little shorter than I am. And I said, that's definitely probably going to be the end of this. But he was drawn to me. And anyway, he wanted my phone number, and I gave it to him. And he was in the Air National Guard then.
Okay.
And he was a civilian in the Air National Guard, but he worked there on weekends during the Guard weekends. He also worked there during the days as well, the weekdays as a civilian. And anyway, he apparently the funniest thing happened. I guess he went and he was just mooning over having met me. And his coworkers were saying, "What happened to you?" And I met this woman. "Oh, yeah." And they were, trying to, it says, spill it. And he wouldn't. And finally, one of them saw a little piece of paper that Tim had and had my phone number on it. And she said, "I'm going to call her for you." And he said, "You wouldn't." Well, she did. She called me, said, "This is Sergeant," I remember her last name. I think it was Graham. I'm not sure. And I work with Sergeant Reinbolt, and he wants to arrange a date with you. I thought, what? Just out of curiosity, I had to figure out what all that was all about. And so I accepted. That was just the weirdest thing. But anyway, Tim appeared at my door, and we went out, and it was the craziest thing. It really was. And then date didn't. It was a couple hours, I guess.
Okay, let's move on to your current work and ministry. I know it's a long sort of arc of story, but what I'd really like you to do is just tell us about the ministry, tell us about the organization, tell us about its vision, its desire. Tell us about how someone could get a hold of you, and what's a perfect, I don't know, contact, a donor, a volunteer, I don't know.
Okay. All right. Very good. Very good. I had been working for another organization for a couple of years that I felt God had led me to, and that ended. And then, so for a year and a half, I was crying out to God and saying, "Are you going to use me again?" And I got, "Yes, just be patient." And I kept praying about it. And lo and behold, in February of 2025, I got a prophetic dream. Never had a dream like this before. I dreamt that the Lord showed me an open Bible, opened up to the book of Esther. And he also showed me a goblet, like a carved ancient antique goblet. And I didn't know what the goblet was for, the cup. And he told me to please study the book of Esther. He said, "I want you to study the book of Esther." And I asked him, "Okay, but what's the goblet for?" "I'll tell you later." All right. So I said, "Okay." And I woke up and I thought, boy, that was an odd dream. I turned to the book of Esther and I started reading and kept studying it. And I love to do word studies, and I was all over with it, just thoroughly enjoying it. And a couple weeks later, I heard him say, I want you to call Esther Ripplinger. Well, I hadn't heard from Esther in over 2 years since I've been involved in that other organization. And I thought, this is odd. And so uh, while I was looking for her number, she calls me before I could call her. Lord put my name on her heart. And she offers me a job. I thought, wow. I thought, well, first of all, I really know very little about human life of Washington. And although I am pro-life, I had always been pro-life. And I thought, well, the job that you're offering me isn't the right one. And so she said, but I really think that you're supposed to be involved with this. I said, okay, well, I'm going to wait and let the Lord reveal that to me. So in the meantime, I took a job at Costco doing as a demo lady. I was demoing food samples and having a lot of fun with that. It's something I really enjoyed doing. And I got to talk to lots and lots of people. And during that, okay, I got in May, I took the job in April. In May, I got another prophetic dream. And out of the blue, the Lord asked me, what's your name and who are you? Before I could answer, I saw him write on a tablet in front of me the word Esther. And I heard him say, you are Esther. And I thought, oh my gosh. I know that there's no such thing as reincarnation. So my interpretation is I am an Esther, or I have an Esther anointing or gifting. I thought, oh my gosh. And so after that, it was the strangest thing. Every time I would go by a church reader board sign, there were a couple of them said, we're studying the book of Esther, Esther, Esther. I'd see a license plate on a car, Esther. This is crazy. So, and then, or I would turn on one of my favorite preachers on YouTube, and they'd be making comments, from Esther, for such a time as this, that favorite phrase that a lot of people are using. And I absolutely use I believe it's a time for right now, very relevant to this particular time. And then I got an invitation from Esther to attend a committee meeting, which I did. And she told me what that cup meant. She said she had received a similar dream from the Lord about the cup. And the cup was meant to be a support to all the individual pro-life ministries in the area. We're not trying to recreate the wheel, and we're trying to be a support to such ministries as Helping Captives and Path of Life and all these other wonderful ministries in the area that are pro-life. Spokane Fatherhood Initiative, just so many that are doing wonderful work for the Lord. And I thought, boy, that really makes sense. Let's work together. What a concept. What a concept as the church too. Let's work together. So I see this as a vehicle where we can help perhaps pull the church together on some projects to help, maybe get rid of some denominational lines and the things that separate us, and just focus on the main thing. Focus on Jesus Christ and what does He want for us, for the church corporately. So anyway, and it was at that time she said that I would like to have you as my coordinator, but I don't have the funding for it. And then about 2 weeks later, she calls me. She said, I got funding. She said, I got another donation, a nice sized donation, and I can fund you. I can give you as an outside contractor funding for a year. I thought, praise the Lord, that's awesome. And I love being a networker because that's what I was before. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I had my own business for about 20 years also, dealing with Christian books out of my home. And I would sell to grocery stores and other areas and love that, route sales and networking. And I love that.
Nice.
And so this fits nicely. And I, with the other stuff I've done, I know quite a few folks. And so, and I look forward to knowing a whole lot more.
Nice.
But yeah,
nice.
Yeah.
So, what would be a really good contact if someone's watching this and they would like to be involved? Who are you looking for as a member, partner? I don't know.
Well, Uh, First of all, I would love to have the leaders of the pro-life groups in the area uh, know me a little bit. I would like to know them, reach out to them, and I'd also like to reach out to leaders of youth. Uh, there's oh gosh, prayer leaders, pastors.
Nice.
There's so much that God has given us. This is not your mama's pro-life movement. I mean, it where we have come from, where we mainly just legislate to where we see the need to be relational, and so the things that God is giving us now is very relational, and it's fun, and it's emphasizing the abundance and the life of God.
Good.
So hence our metamorphosis into the HLW's Life and Love Network.
Nice. So one of the things that I like to talk to people about is areas of growth and struggles, maybe the wrong word, but uncertainty, needing clarity. And what's an area of your life that you're really leaning into God for direction and clarity and action?
Well, one thing I could say is that many people that are involved in pro-life have had a story, and I have also as well. Just before that former marriage, that abusive marriage broke up, I became pregnant with him by him, and I knew the marriage was breaking up. It was due to end in a week. I was out of my mind with anxiety. I already had 3 children. I thought, what am I going to do? And I confided to my doctor. My doctor scheduled me for an appointment in Deaconess Hospital to have a DNC, which is a therapeutic, they termed it a therapeutic abortion. So I've had an abortion, and I have felt loss and grief and guilt from that. I did that, felt that for years. And I felt that I could never tell anybody. But in recent years, God's shown me that, hey, he loves me. That's under the blood. He's told me that Joshua James, my little baby boy, is in heaven waiting for me. And for, when it's my turn to cross over, I get to meet him and I get to raise him. And I get to raise Julianne, another little baby that I'd had that was premature. And oh my gosh. So I thought, oh boy, all right, devil, you're not going to beat me up with this anymore. Here it is. It's out in the open. I'm an open book. My life is an open book. There's nothing that you can beat me up with anymore. And how freeing. And then when I heard one of the ministries that supports Human Life of Washington talk about how we should see the people and not the sin. If somebody comes to our door, like our daughter, for instance, if it comes to the door and says, Mom, I've strayed away. In this one instance, this happened to this one leader of an organization. Her daughter, who was estranged, landed on her doorstep with her boyfriend, and she was greeted with open arms. Glad to have you back, glad to have you back. And then after a few hours, the daughter got up enough courage and she said, Mom, I'm pregnant. And they were not married. And she just stiffened up, waiting for a barrage, waiting for her mom to tell her how awful that was, that she should have been married. But the mom totally disarmed her. She said, oh, how wonderful, a baby. I'm going to be a grandmother. And I love you. How can I help you? We'll talk. I'm not happy about the circumstances. We'll talk about that later. But the first things first is you and that child.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
If we as a church, if we could reach out like that, I think that would change. One of the things that would change culture. Same thing. You could use that for the homeless person coming off the street who stinks and who's just vile. and he might swear, and he might, whatever, and but might end up on the back pew trying to find a place to warm, instead of saying, "Oh, what are you doing here?"
Mm-hmm.
Help us, Lord, to change our heart so that we don't see the stink, so that we see the person that God created and loves.
Yeah. That's great.
So, yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, Jeryl. Contact information. Let's say that there's someone out there and they want to volunteer, or they want to give, or they want to support, or they want to know more.
Okay.
How do they get a hold of you?
Okay. Well, may I give a little plug for the breakfast that we're going to be having?
Well, that's why you're here, Jeryl.
Okay. Okay.
Promote.
Well, all right.
Promote.
Well, one of the best ways that you can find out about the today's pro-life movement and what God is doing with it, come to our prayer and purpose breakfast, February 25th, at the Mirabeau Park Hotel and Convention Center. It's at breakfast at 7:30 in the morning. February 25th is a Wednesday. So, and we did that on purpose because we want pastors to be able to come before they have to go in, to their church office, or, business leaders to come before their, anyway, make time for us, please. Make time for us. Come and see who we are. And you'll hear in about a 2-hour span, we'll pray. In fact, that prayer is not an afterthought with this meeting. We are genuinely going to pray. And so I would say about a third of it is going to be focused on prayer. And the other part, you're going to hear about how God has used us in a project called Treats and Binkies, and another one, Match for Life, Pizza and Purpose Party, which is an oratory contest, Biking for Babies, grants available for other pro-life organizations who want to do something out of the box, that is pro-life, to advertise pro-life, and many other things that are in the hopper. But come in and support us. Abby Johnson and Senator Mike Patton and Mark Malosha, 3 dignitaries who came to our gala last December, all made comments, and the best one I heard was from Abby Johnson's. She said that Human Life of Washington is probably in the top 5, if not the top organization that she has ever keynoted for. After listening to and seeing what we're doing, I thought, what a compliment, and that's all God, all glory to God. But come and join us February 25th, and at the Mirabeau Park Ponderosa Room on a Wednesday morning.
Okay. How about a website and a phone number?
Okay. Website is HLWconnects, CONNECTS.life. And another one would be humanlifewa.org.
Okay.
Okay. And you want me to give my phone number?
Well, it's often easiest to get a text or phone. Yeah.
Okay. Well, my phone number is 509-655-6339. And the email is Jeryl, Jeryl, at humanlifewa.org.
Good.
Had to think about it.
Good. So, maybe I'll get you to write some of that stuff down, and we'll put it on the lower spot here.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for coming on my podcast. Gerald does lots of work with Right to Life. I am a life coach and a spiritual director for pastors and leaders in the local church. And if you know someone who's a pastor or leader and they feel alone at the top and would love to have a coach or a spiritual director, I would love an introduction. Thank you for coming on my podcast, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
It's been a pleasure.
All right. Thank you.